Well, the pandemic had an effect that we all know. We know many more words than we used to know some months ago. Many words are on public health, but also words about technology. For instance, all my pathology is now about VPN, virtual private networks, about teleworking, and all this new technology has come to stay. So I would say yes, there is a clear impact that the pandemic, positive impact that the pandemic has shown how important is technology. And this technology like teleworking, secondary opinion by telemedicine or telepathology is already being used as in a natural way. And it wasn't like that only 1 year ago. No? In my opinion, artificial intelligence is going to be developing a lot in the next few months or next few years, because we are becoming aware that in many parts of our specialties, for instance, in cancer of the prostate, in breast cancer, and so on, it's showing excellent results. And also because in cytology, it's even better, because we know the good results, for instance, that were obtained many years ago by systems like PubMed that were very, very basic systems. So we are very confident that the new systems based on a neural network on deep learning will work much better. So there is a lot of expectation, I would say, in my specialty. In the pathology department in the hospital of Cádiz, we are working with deep learning that we have developed with the engineers of the university in order to, on one side, detect the areas where breast cancer is located, so that we can do our quick screening of the slides containing cancer. On the other side, we are correlating the patterns obtained morphology on hematoxylin and eosin in order to predict the possibility of those areas to contain mutations, gene mutations. So this means that also in cytology, morphological patterns will be an excellent predictor of mutations, of survival, and many other parameters that still we have to study. The main impact that we expect from artificial intelligence in a short term is on one side to shorten the screening times, because it allows me to select, for instance, these are the positive cases, and I should concentrate on those cases. On the other side, to show up maybe things that I would miss because I didn't have these tools. Artificial intelligence right now, we know, for instance, that it's able to predict with morphology certain mutations or certain genetic alterations and so on. I think one of the important impact it may have is being able to classify better the lesions. Right now, we are used to say high-grade lesions, low-grade, ascus, but biology is not always like that. It's more a continuous grade of lesions. So probably with artificial intelligence, being able to quantify it and not only to put things in one specific place, but quantifying will be an important tool that will help us also to understand better the biology of cancer. My expectations for artificial intelligence in cytology are mainly that we are able to integrate First, in our legislation, so that in order to improve our artificial intelligence systems, our politicians, our governments, local, regional governments, understand that we need a lot of images, a lot of cases, a lot of patients to feed this artificial intelligence system in order to learn day by day, in order to learn from all the thousands of cases that we are reviewing every month. And this is my main expectation, that we will be able to use all that information that is in our archives, and it's not being used, but with artificial intelligence, all the power of all those data will show up. The benefit that we may have of being able to work with all these big data is, on one side, that the system can improve the quality, the efficiency, the sensibility day by day, because they are learning day by day with the new cases. So if right now the system already are quite efficient and have high quality, it can also improve by being able to use all the big data that we are generating. And on the other side also, to be able to show more, let's say, objective information that also the patient can have access to. Right now, for instance, main of the data that we are offering to the patient in our results are based on human interpretation. If this is combined with automatic and objective information, this will allow us to make reports that are more understandable to the patient, because are more objective decisions that we can make. In order for this development of artificial intelligence to happen and to become a more extended reality, we need a clear networking between different pathology departments, and this is possible right now with digital pathology, in terms that we are not isolated islands making our own decisions, but we can, on one side, we can support, because from one pathology department to the other, because we can make second opinion, we can, for instance, redistribute the work when there is some, for instance, problems with the cytotechnicians and so on. So being able, for instance, to launch automated systems that allows this preliminary analysis of these cases means also that we are able to offer this even to small pathology departments that otherwise wouldn't have access to these technologies, because they only have very small amounts of cytology and they're not able to have an artificial intelligence of their own, for their own. No? Certainly nowadays there is a shortage of cytotechnicians, of cytoscreeners in my region. For instance, in the province of Cádiz, there is only 2 cytotechnicians for a population of 1.2 million inhabitants. No? This means that a lot of the effort is based on very specialized resources like pathologists. If we are able to automate all this screening part with artificial intelligence, so that cytotechnicians can become more efficient, and pathologists can also concentrate in another part of their work that is more interesting for them than doing cytoscreening. In order artificial intelligence to really foster this development, there are some peculiarities. For instance, with the validations of the systems. For instance, in order to obtain CE marking, it is clear that the system in some cases has to be closed. This means that those systems that are able to learn continuously from new cases, probably right now is more difficult for them to obtain CE marking than those systems where the algorithms is already known. This is a technical and this is a procedure that is established by the European Union in the regulations of in vitro diagnosis. And since artificial intelligence is a tool that is under this umbrella of artificial intelligence, right now regulation is not helping too much. Probably it will happen like in COVID, that we have learned that legislation is fine, but in some cases you have to be more flexible in order to obtain vaccines earlier and in order to obtain better solutions for cancer earlier. If we compare what's happening on FDA and the European Union, we can see that there is quite a few systems already approved by both FDA and CE marking. For instance, I can think of in pathology of about 10 algorithms that have already received this CE marking. But there is probably a few more with FDA, maybe 15 of them that have already received this release from the FDA. But FDA has a white paper where it states the importance of having different classification rules for artificial intelligence because the algorithms is not closed. And this flexibility that we are already noticing in FDA, we haven't noticed it in the European regulation. I think the future is excellent for image analysis based on artificial intelligence and on digital pathology, because it has been demonstrated that the technology is already working, and this is happening with only a few, maybe thousands, maybe less than 1 million. Can you imagine when we include millions of cases in these systems? Probably the technology will be even more efficient than it is today.